Hi everyone, thank you for being here. I'm Mandy. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 8 seller objection handling tips when calling for sale by owners and expired listings. I think a lot of people are afraid to make these phone calls because they don't feel as though they have the tools necessary to navigate these conversations. And the fear of rejection is very much present when you're making the calls. So I figured I would refrain this whole calling process and just look at it as a ping pong game, if you will. They're going to say something, you're going to say something back. If you look at it as a friendly game of ping pong, there really is no reason to be afraid, is there? Objection number 1, we are not selling. The seller is completely closed off and they just hope that you will hang up and leave them alone. I want you to say this. Oh, okay, I see your plans have changed. I understand. Well, if you do decide to list again, if they're an expired listing or maybe a for sale by owner that just came off the market, or if you list for the first time, if they're like a general farming lead, do you have an agent that you would work with? Or would you work with your previous agent? Try to get them talking. Try to get them to open up. They're wanting you to shut down and move along with your day, but you want to keep them on the phone because they picked up and you've connected. And then you can say, you know what, would it be a crazy idea for us to stay in touch? I know a lot of people, including a lot of home contractors. So even if you never end up selling again, I can be a resource for you in this area should you need somebody. The ultimate goal with these calls is to obviously schedule an appointment and get in front of the seller, try to get a listing. But if you can't, because they don't want to sell right now, you can't force somebody to sell, you want to get their email address so you can stay on their radar. There's a good chance that if they were on the market at one time, they'll probably want to sell again in the future. And if they know about you and they see that you're current with the market, they're getting your updates, there's a good chance they'll reach out. That actually happened to me the other day. I had made contact with a lead, and the lead had a friend that they were going to go with. This was an expired listing. They ended up listing with a friend. The listing never sold. They came off the market. I reached out a few times, never heard from them. Reached out to them again. They did pick up and they said they had a cash buyer they were going to work with, an off-market purchase. I said, great. Well, that never worked out. And they reached out this past week wanting to list with one of my client teams, and they're probably going to buy as well. So that email address is critical, guys. It's okay if they don't want to transact with you in this moment, but get that email address for the future. Objection number 2, you agents are all the same. No thanks. Now, usually they're not going to come right out and say it that way, but you're going to sense that they have a general disdain for agents with the way they're speaking with you, or maybe something that they say casually in the conversation. And with that, I want you to say, did you have a bad experience with an agent in the past? Just ask them directly. If so, how did you select that agent? Try to get them to open up. Don't let them shut you down. You've got to stand up toe to toe and be ready to receive whatever it is that they're ready to unload. And you can say, I'm so sorry that you did have a bad experience. Show empathy for their disappointment and frustration. Get them to hopefully tell you what went wrong. Did the agent not communicate with you? What happened? And then you can kind of say you would ensure that that never ever would happen. And then you can ask this question. I love to do this. Mr. and Miss Seller, have you ever been to a doctor that you didn't like? You have? Okay, well, did you stop seeing doctors altogether, or did you realize that there are good and bad people everywhere in this world? Because that's really what it comes down to. Apologize for their bad experience, but let them know that not every agent is going to conduct themselves the way that that previous agent did. Another good strategic move is to propose a flexible listing term with them, because a lot of agents out there will lock their sellers into 6-month listing terms, and I'm not a fan of that at all. I really feel as though you should leave the listing term as flexible as possible so that that seller does not feel trapped. And especially in this situation, if they're coming from a bad experience, let them know that they have an out if they need it. Objection number 3, this one is very applicable given that most of the country is in a seller's market. I don't need you guys. I'm going to sell on my own. You can say, you know what? I understand. No argument there. And I respect your desire to sell on your own. Who wants to pay commission if they don't have to? Remember my rules. Stay in agreement. And then you can say, if you don't mind my asking, why are you selling? Try to get away from where they're at with you trying to block you, and turn the corner and start speaking about the actual reasons to why they're selling. You can also say, are you planning on staying in the area? By when would you like to close? Also, you can say this: I work with buyers as well as sellers. Any chance I can preview the property in case I run into someone that could be a good fit for your home. It will be a quick visit and I can share some marketing tips that you can actually use as you're selling on your own. I mean, that to me is a win-win. Everyone's got 15 minutes to spare. If you can stop on by and look at the home and share a little bit about what you could offer them if they do decide to list with someone, that carries a lot of value. Objection number 4, you gotta love this one. We are not paying any commission, sell side or buy side. In fact, the buyer needs to pay the commission. I mean, they are super resistant to any kind of interaction with an agent. Stay in agreement, do not argue with the lead. I understand not wanting to pay a list side commission if you think you can sell on your own, but let me give you, if it's okay, a word of advice on the buy side commission. Being very gentle, using softening language. Don't be bossy, don't come on strong. Be gentle because you truly want to help them. Even if you don't transact with them at all, you want to give them some advice. If a buyer's agent knows they will earn $0 if their client buys your home, as opposed to a 3% commission with a similar home, they might not bring their client to your home. It's not right, Mr. or Ms. Seller, but it can happen just because the way the industry is set up. Agents only earn money when they close the transaction. You can say, due to how the industry works, I would encourage you to offer something, at the very least 2%. This will help you stay competitive. Our goal is to help them, whether we do business with them or not. So if you leave them with that thought, they might consider it and they might go ahead and put in their for sale by owner listing that they're going to pay 2%. And that could ultimately help them down the road. Spread good energy, share your wisdom to the point that they allow us to, and then move on. Objection number 5. You hear this one quite often. Bring me a buyer. We will pay you 3% commission. The first thing I want you to do is to thank the seller. Thank you so much. We as agents appreciate that you recognize our value, and I will make a note of it in case we do come across a buyer. Now I want you to engage them with general questions because they obviously have no desire to list, or at this point they don't. So let's veer away from their stance, their hard objection, and let's just get into some friendly conversation. Let's do a little volleying with the ping pong paddles. How has the response been so far? Why have you decided to sell? Where are you moving to? Have you sold for sale by owner before? Do you have the time to field all the inquiries that come in and conduct showings and open houses to try to secure that buyer? Do you know how to analyze the comps to ensure that you aren't leaving any money on the table? Oh, by the way, Mr. Seller, how did you arrive at your selling price? Talk in some generalities with them, and then you always want to go in for I meet buyers all the time. Any chance I can stop by for that property preview? There's a reason why I'm emphasizing the property preview to you, because you want to get in front of the seller. That's where you can really build a strong rapport with them. You start building the rapport during the phone call, but then you can really solidify that in person. So if they are completely closed off to a listing agent, try to get in front of them and do a property preview, tour the home, let them know that you'll keep it in mind should you come across a buyer that's looking for their home type, but then also show value while you're there in person. In the event they do decide to list with someone, they'll remember you. Number 6. Now this isn't so much an objection, but I wanted to put it on the list because you're going to notice this a lot with for sale by owners. A lot of times the seller does not have the property presented well. It could be a beautiful home, but they've got horrible photos. They might have a tenant in there and the tenant's got all their personal belongings everywhere cluttered up, and the house just looks dirty and cluttered and it doesn't look inviting. So you want to coach them as to the importance of really presenting the property professionally, but you don't want to insult them. I understand you don't want to list, and I totally respect that, Mr. and Ms. Seller. I want you to be successful even without my help. Can I give you just a little bit of advice? Kind of get playful with them? I think it would be a good idea for you to invest in professional photos or a floor plan. You get one chance to grab a buyer's attention as they scroll through hundreds of options online. You want your property to look for sale versus lived in. It should look very neutral and clean like a hotel room. You want to take away the clutter, you want to depersonalize it. Let them know that if you invest this time in good photos and really cleaning up the property before taking the photos, it's going to pay off. And you can close with clicks drive showings and showings drive offers. Number 7. Again, this one isn't so much an objection as it is the seller just kind of sharing some information with you and you using that information to level up in the conversation. They say they have a deadline as to when they need to move by. I want you to show our value as agents. You can explain to them that selling a home is a two-part process. You've got to get the home into contract, right? You've got to find the buyer that wants the home and you've got to agree on a sales price, but then you've got to get to the closing table. Do you know that not every home that goes into contract closes? So issues can come up with the inspection, the buyer's appraisal, the title report, etc. Let them know that you have a team of people behind you to ensure that you get a clear to close and it actually closes. Number 8, not so much as an objection, but it's something that you learn during a conversation with a for sale by owner. They say, well, we just have the home listed on Zillow. And you can say, well, advertising the home on Zillow is great. It's obviously a great website. A lot of people are on it. But do you know that having reach that extends to X amount of websites, whatever the number that your brokerage offers, is great because you will ensure maximum exposure for your listing, and explain to them that maximum exposure leads to solid traffic. Solid traffic can lead to multiple offers, and then multiple offers will result in the winning offer, the offer that you're looking for. The more you can move that ball back and forth across the ping pong table, you will learn more, and then you can learn how to insert yourself into the situation by showing value. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I hope you got value out of this video. If so, please leave me a thumbs up down below and consider subscribing to the channel. I will include a couple links up above for some other videos that I have, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.